A lot of women are preparing themselves for the impact of the incoming administration, which has led to this growing mantra from male right-wing influencers: your body, my choice. Say that to
Keep your grip tight as the situation escalated beyond our initial expectations. If you're captivated by these breathtaking moments, click the subscribe button right away. A few days ago, we brought you the explosive showdown between Karoline Leavitt and Whoopi Goldberg, but we didn't have an opportunity to go into all the juicy details. The reason the so-called woke crowd went crazy in Fallout was not because Karoline outwitted Whoopi on national television, but rather because she had the courage to do it while she was a mother. Yes, you heard correctly. They questioned why a mother with a 7-month-old is even working so hard to promote female empowerment rather than responding to her points. It's funny how strong and independent working mothers are praised until it's someone they dislike, and then suddenly it becomes a scandal. The hypocrisy is obvious, and believe me, this was only the beginning.
She's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked at the previous.
Yes, the same group that chants that women are capable of doing anything all at once breaks out. What is the new regulation? Because it seems that this specific working mother passed an invisible line. If you humiliate a host of a daytime talk show, you should go home, bake cookies, and take stock of your life. The hypocrisy is blatant, and there is no self-awareness. I mean, Karoline is making good points, but why are people criticizing her for being a dedicated mother?
A very nice looking lady, but it isn't true that that's why she got the job. She got the job because she was the national spokesman for the campaign, and she did a very good job in that role. And the campaign was hugely successful and communicated very effectively. That is why she got the job. Even if Karoline Leavitt weren't a pretty lady, even if she were a male, gremlin, monstrous-looking fellow, she still would have gotten the job based on how effective the campaign communication is.
Let's see what Karoline has to say next. Then, with ease, she dismisses the outrage, using a sledgehammer to swat it away like a fly and dropping what ought to be plain sense. She truly flips the script here, acknowledging that juggling work and raising a child is difficult and that not all women are suited for it. The real scandal is that a woman is actually daring to say, "Hey, my lifestyle isn't one size fits all," despite the fact that it's shocking that you can balance motherhood and a career without having to choose one over the other. Someone better alert the think tanks. The stiff left, you can succeed in feminism or fail at it. Not only does Karoline Leavitt win the debate, but she also reveals the hypocrisy for what it is: performative empowerment with a dash of mom shaming. Just when you thought the outrage mob couldn't get any more absurd, they go even further and tumble straight into full-blown conspiracy territory. Leavitt offers a completely radical, mature, nuanced perspective. She points out that women who choose full-time motherhood deserve respect, not condescension, because raising the next generation is just as valuable as moving up the corporate ladder.
These despicable women on The View, they are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
This is why, of course, she's on The View and not working for the most powerful man in the world, because Karoline would wipe the floor with you bitter banshees any day.
He knows how to do this. Yes, he knows how to do this. He's quite good at this. And, you know, you can't refute anything with him because he just, when I say him, I mean
Rambles.
Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just...
But can I?
Yes, you read correctly. According to these so-called experts, the same group that enjoys preaching logic, research, and facts has officially exchanged their evidence-based mantras for tinfoil hats and their most recent masterpiece. Thinkers Elon Musk, the man who is genuinely transforming space travel and transportation, is secretly planning to shove Donald Trump down the stairs to overthrow him. This is serious because nothing says billionaire mastermind like bullying techniques from middle school. The brilliant minds at The View, who apparently believe they are conducting a congressional inquiry from the comfort of their coffee table, are spearheading this intellectual crusade because Karoline Leavitt dared to humiliate their beloved Queen Bee, and they are now seeking retribution. And who better to target than Donald Trump's employer and his influential ally, Elon Musk? You really couldn't write this degree of ridiculousness even if you tried. It's like witnessing satire play out in real time.
I'm a working mom and always have been. I've been a professional woman since I graduated from college or law school. But now there's, I think, a good thing, which is like the restoration of valuing so-called traditional moms, and that's great. Women who take care of their kids full time. Most of my best friends are doing exactly that. It seems like in the right, there's like a bit of a shift toward like, you can't do what Karoline's doing. That's actually like an unsafe or a dangerous or a bad choice for families, for children, which I reject wholesale. But you hear it more and more. Yeah, do you hear that?
But hold on. Here comes Whoopi Goldberg, summoning the last of her remaining courage for a last desperate attempt. Did she dare to confront Karoline Leavitt directly? Of course not, even though she knew that would be like walking into a hurricane wearing paper shoes. Instead, she took the coward's route and shifted her focus to Trump, launching an attack so outrageous and childish that it left the entire audience in shock. She actually spat after uttering Trump's name, like a cartoon villain suffering defeat for the first time, because nothing screams intellectual debate like spitting on cue. But Karoline, she wasn't letting that slide.
Tough choice? Absolutely. You know, as a mother, you want to be with your child 24/7. You have that maternal instinct.
20.
Yeah. Not all the time. Well, right now, yes, because he's 7 months and just squishy and lovable, but I'm sure that will change. You do have that maternal instinct, but also recognizing I'm doing this work for my son and for all children to make this country better. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
She sneered, "This is how debate looks now. When you can't win on facts, you resort to playground tactics." Can you imagine becoming so upset by a man's name that you start spitting like a toddler refusing broccoli? It's not only embarrassing, it's pathetic, which is why daytime TV ratings are falling and Karoline Leavitt is. By calling out the hypocrisy, she didn't just sit back and take it. These are the same individuals who preach civility and respect, but by the time Leavitt was done, they were transforming ABC into a slapstick comedy show. The internet was quick to criticize Whoopi's alleged daring move, which appeared more like a desperate last resort than a rebellion. Memes sprang on social media more quickly than producers could press the commercial break button, and viewers raced to support Leavitt, applauding her for taking down Goldberg's embarrassing performance. One user encapsulated the atmosphere so well that these women will eventually have to hide. If I were any of them, I wouldn't feel comfortable strolling down the street. Others noted that Whoopi's prank was a blatant insult to millions of Americans, who, as one user put it, literally spat on Trump's supporters, which is half the country.
It's temporary, right? In 4 years, my son will be 4 years old, and the president will no longer be at the White House. And then I'll move on and do something else. But, this chaos, 24/7 work, is a temporary matter. And that's what at least I tell myself to get through these very long and hard days. But I would reject that you can't be a good mom and be good at your job. I think you can do both. It's certainly it's not for everybody. And it takes a lot of work and will and faith and prayer. And it's hard, but it can be done. And,
Although I realize I'm straying a bit, some skeptics couldn't help but wonder whether Whoopi's antics were only a desperate attempt to garner attention. One even made the joke, "I'm convinced they pay her extra to act foolish." Did Karoline Leavitt just expose Trump and the legacy media? The woke media has essentially made it their side job to drag Leavitt through the mud because this section is pure gold. These are the same individuals who have been attacking Leavitt nonstop, questioning her credentials, humiliating her, and making her a continuous target. Before you blinked, there's an op-ed about it, but this is where it gets really juicy off camera. After the outcry subsides and the blue check bravado fades, these same critics are allegedly sneaking into Leavitt's office to express their gratitude. Yes, you read correctly. In private, it's all smiles, handshakes, and whispered thanks for doing your job. In public, they portray her as the villain of the right wing. However, in secret, They expressed gratitude for the media access they were unable to obtain under Biden's press staff. You really can't make this stuff up.
I mean, I gotta ask you, because they said it, are you aware of any plots from Elon Musk to push President Trump down the stairs?
Absolutely not. Let me be unequivocally clear about that. And watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years. They likened President Trump to Hitler. They have mocked him. They have shamed him. They have lied about him consistently on their show.
However, should anyone be surprised, the entire media apparatus is acting as though it is fighting the beast while secretly feeding it, while Leavitt is simply standing there, seat in hand, watching the entire circus collapse in real time. And suddenly, here we are again. Hypocrisy is not just common, it is practically expected.
With how you were going to meet the high bar set by Karoline Leavitt. Is that... Sorry, is that out loud? No, she was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how is your approach different, would you say?
I think it's vastly different. And if you ask people, even in the legacy media, even the Trump haters, they will tell you the approach is very much different. Not just for me, but the entire White House. Oh, absolutely. They come in my office every day and they'll admit that off the record. Maybe not on the record, but they will say they appreciate the access and the transparency and the preparation that goes into my briefings and everybody on our...
Fresh from her venomous words, showdown with Goldberg, the jerk, it's almost as if they all went to the same school. Karoline Leavitt barely has time to catch her breath before another woke journalist jumps in, eager to correct the record. Were they disturbed by the massive fraud Leavitt just exposed? Of course not. That would require actual thought, and we can't have that. Instead, they attack Leavitt like a hall monitor on a power trip. Ignore the true problem, the target. Leavitt, however, wasn't going to take that lying down. She retaliated with a cool, cutting precision that turns online moments into viral gold. The whistleblower should be proud of themselves for protecting democracy. I apologize, she shot back. The journalists obviously doubled down because when you're losing, why not dig yourself up? I had no idea that exposing corruption was less essential than saving your fact-checking addiction. A hole that is deeper by the time Leavitt finished. It was more than just a debate. It was a complete demolition, and the journalist left looking less like someone looking for the truth and more like an unpaid public relations representative for the very fraud Leavitt had just exposed. I wonder how she prepares for these press conferences. She seems to have a keen understanding of every issue. And it shows. Leavitt's lightning devastating takedowns and quick comebacks, she doesn't speak according to a script or use a woke, acceptable filter when she speaks. In contrast to her awakened peers who use focus groups, straight from the heart is straightforward and unvarnished. Leavitt eschews theatrics in favor of hiring PR strategists and thesauruses to create the ideal soundbite. No obfuscation or dishonesty, simply unvarnished reality that is more powerful than their rehashed talking points ever could be.
From the Social Security Administration, there was $71 billion worth of fraud in one single fiscal year that we know about. And so that is a lot of fraud, Peter.
To be clear, that $71 billion was from 2015 to 2022, so it wasn't in this one year, and it was
$71 billion.
But it wasn't in 1 year, it was over multiple years, from 2015 to 2022.
So are you defending $71 billion in fraud, Peter? That's a lot of money. Why is the media so against cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from the government? I don't get it. We won't be deterred. We will not be deterred from people like you.
Leavitt is out here stating precisely what everyone else is thinking while the left is busy tying themselves up in knots to keep their own echo chamber from being disrupted. The best part is that she doesn't just talk a big game. She backs it up with facts, receipts, and... While the woke crowd is busy constructing the ideal outrage-filled tweet on X, formerly Twitter, for those still living in the dark, she exudes a level of confidence that leaves her critics staring blankly like deer caught in headlights. It's almost too simple. Leavitt is already 5 steps ahead in 2016, dissecting their disagreements before they even collide. In a society full of theatrical outrage and virtue signaling, Post not only is its genuineness refreshing, but it also poses a direct danger to those whose entire platform is based on smoke, mirrors, and selective outrage. So it's not just dishonest, but also very pitiful when Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg minimize a lady who is obviously articulate, bright, and accomplished to nothing more than her appearance.
The cackling witch herself, Joy Behar from The View, whose jealousy is something to behold. Here is her assessment of Trump's new White House press secretary, Karoline Leavitt.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous
What if she's the ever-empowering feminist Joy herself, everyone? And this is why, of course, she's on The View and not working for the most powerful man in the world, because Karoline would wipe the floor with you bitter than she's any.
It's becoming painfully clear that the women on The View aren't simply insulted by Karoline Leavitt. They're actually jealous of her shrewd mind, her poise, and, of course, her quick ascent to stardom. Let's face it, Leavitt has achieved more in a short period of time than they have after decades of shouting into thin air. When envy takes over, reasoning completely fails, so their strategy is straightforward. They'll try to undermine her, say anything, no matter how ridiculous, petty, or obviously hypocritical. It's like watching Mean Girls in high school, but with worse viewpoints and a much larger amount of money. They can't criticize her record because it's so strong. They are unable to refute her ideas since she disproves them with ease, so they resort to the oldest and most lazy tactic in the awakened world: character assassination in playbooks.
Prepare, because you can't know everything, and you could get asked anything. And unlike Karine Jean-Pierre, you're not out there reading and furiously flipping through your tabs to try to find an answer somebody else has written for you. So how are you preparing?
So
Karoline's response.
Karoline's answer to this question is really outstanding. It demonstrates her intelligence and makes it abundantly evident why she is the ideal candidate for this position.
I did prepare a binder for the first briefing. My great assistant, Keegan, put it together. And then I showed up to work, and it was this thick. And I was like, I can't even move this. I can't use this. It was too cumbersome for my brain, the way I learn and think and study, to have that. It felt like added weight. And I said, I want to just go in there and speak from my mind and from my heart.
Like your boss.
It's only because of Trump that she's successful. They complain as though Karoline Leavitt had already made waves long before she entered the White House press room. But notice how they never level that same criticism at a liberal mother balancing work and family. The more they flail, the more obvious it is that this isn't about politics, but rather jealousy. Leavitt is winning the culture war simply by existing, and the more successful she becomes. No one makes this more evident than Michael Knowles, as Leavitt isn't just outsmarting the woke crowd. Though, let's face it, she most certainly is, but it goes beyond book smarts and snappy comebacks. Remember her congressional run? She wasn't simply another token Gen Z politician chasing viral moments. Instead, she won the Republican primary, crushing her rivals like a freight train without stops, leaving Matt in the dust. This lady has real-world experience. The campaign wasn't just a resume bullet. It was a crash course in real-world politics, the kind that woke pundits pretend to understand while sipping expensive lats. Mowers, a former Trump administration official who was supposed to be the front-runner spoiler, eventually lost to Democrat incumbent Chris Papace, but let's be clear, it wasn't some crushing defeat. She made the political establishment sweat, proving she wasn't just another talking head, and planning their next fact check. Therefore, when Leavitt takes the podium and makes those swift, sharp rebuttals, it's not just a lack of youthful confidence. It's the skill of someone who has been in the trenches, taken hits, faced the system, and emerged stronger. It's no wonder the left can't stand her. She is everything they say they support, but are actually afraid of.
Dinner pasta? Oh wait, he's not on CNN anymore. Right. He was like
it was just so, I would say, you don't mind the aggressive questions, you take the aggressive questions, but it was just always to the point that it was like, how do you destroy Donald Trump? How do you destroy the individual staff? It was so, when they do say Trump derangement syndrome, and I do think that there's also Elon Musk derangement syndrome happening too with the media, because they don't know how to handle it. How do you view that differently from the first administration?
Prepare yourself for yet another flawless response from Karoline. Her insight is so astute that it's no surprise that she has detractors.
First of all, since you brought up Jim Acosta, he's been saying some not so nice things about me online, and I've resisted responding, but since you brought him up, please say, let's go. Jim, at least I have a job, Jim, okay?
As we've already mentioned, the women on The View aren't just annoyed by Karoline Leavitt. They're downright jealous, and who can blame them? They're sitting on their comfortable daytime TV set, repeating the same old talking points and gossiping for the time, whining from a comfortable studio couch while Karoline Leavitt is inside the White House, influencing the national conversation. This isn't just a difference in job title, it's irrelevance. Distinction, the worst part is that they know they can't match her political savvy or intelligence, which is why every time they try to confront her, it always ends the same way, Leavitt educating them with nothing but facts in her deadly smile. Leavitt tosses receipts, Whoopi and her gang throw tantrums, and she releases truth bombs to infuriate them. The jealousy isn't just evident, it's actually palpable, like when a professional fighter spars with a group of indignant onlookers. They know deep down that if they ever had to switch, areas where they wouldn't last 5 minutes with Leavitt. This is just another vicious retort from the undisputed queen of comebacks. Whoopi Goldberg would never enter a real showdown with Karoline Leavitt at this point because it's not just about losing. It's about being totally destroyed in front of millions of people. Whoopi may be loud, but no amount of noise wins battles. It's like watching a master chef teach someone how to boil water. Whoopi is still stuck playing checkers while Leavitt plays chess. We'll wrap up today's episode. If you enjoyed our scathing, no-holds-barred take on the latest political drama, if you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe for more unfiltered content. With half the pieces missing, every insult that Whoopi throws is fired back at her, only sharper with a side of bless your heart. Deep down, Whoopi knows the truth, so she can continue performing inside The View's cozy echo chamber. But in a real debate, it would be a knockout before the first commercial break.